Jai Maha Maya ki jai, Bole Baba ki jai. In yesterday's discourse, we heard King Jamanjaya asking many questions of Vedavyasa. Now Vedavyasa is going to answer them. So we'll move on to chapter 2, excuse me, of book 4 of the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam. The learned Vedavyasa, the son of Satyavati, and the knower of the Pranas, when thus asked by Jamanjaya, the son of Pariksit, whose heart had become calm, replied in the following words, capable to remove all doubts. Vedavyasa said, O king, you would better know that in this universe the course of karma is not easily comprehensible. Even the devas are not capable to comprehend the wonderful effects of actions. What to speak of men? When this universe, composed of the three gunas, arose, it was through karma that everything had its origin. It was the seed of karma whence the jivas, the individual embodied souls, arose with neither any beginning nor any end. Those jivas go on often and often incarnating in numerous varieties of wombs and then go to dissolution. When this karma ceases, the jivas then are never to have any more connection with any other body. The karmas done by jivas are of three kinds: auspicious, inauspicious, and mixed, partly auspicious and partly inauspicious, and of which the auspicious is the sattvic karma, the inauspicious is the tamasic karma, and the mixed is the rajasic karma. Thus have been said by the sages. These three, again, are subdivided into three. They are sansita, accumulated karmas, bhavisya, impending in the future karmas, and paradva, commenced karmas. All these karmas are indwelling always with the body. O king, everybody, even Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, all are under the influence of this karma, and they experience pleasure, pain, old age, disease, and death, joy, and sorrow. Lust, anger, greed, and other bodily qualities out of the effects of this karma, which we call ordinary fate. Therefore, love, hatred, and other bodily qualities are predominant equally in all bodies. Anger, jealousy, hatred, and other similar qualities arise in the devas, men, and birds owing to some sort of dislike on previous occasions. And love, compassion, pity, etc., arise out of some sort of likings existing already. O king, no individual can arise without some sort of action or other. It is through karma that the sun traverses in the sky. It is through karma that the moon was attacked with consumption disease. And it is through karma that Shiva holds the disc of skull bone. This karma therefore has no beginning nor end till moksha. Now that this karma is the sole cause know that this karma is the sole cause of this production of the universe. For this reason, this whole universe, movable and immovable, is real. But munis are deeply absorbed in meditation to ascertain about its reality or unreality. They cannot definitely know it for certain whether this world is real or unreal, for where Maya is prevalent, the universe is there. Where there is the cause fully existing in all respects, there is no effect. How can we say? The Maya is eternal and always acts as the prime cause of all. Therefore, O king, the sages declare that the seed of karma is eternal. This whole universe changes incessantly, being controlled by this karma. O king of kings, they say it is through the will of Vishnu, of unbounded energy and splendor, that all this universe enters again and again into all sorts of wombs, whether good or evil. Now, if the birth of Vishnu of infinite powers takes place according to his will, then why is it that he travels through many impious births? Why is it that Bhagavan Vishnu goes in different yugas to take his births in sometimes low and very vile forms. Where is that self-dependent man who, leaving his abode in Vaikuntha and all sorts of pleasures and happiness, desires to live in this mortal temple filled with urine and feces and other filthy matters? No intelligent man will leave comfortable resting places and amorous sports and gathering flowers for the sake of living in the womb. Who likes to live with his face downwards in the womb when he can enjoy the fine heavenly soft downs puffed up with cotton or silk? Who will abandon singing, dancing, and music where all sorts of love feelings are being manifested and think of coming down to this veritable hell? Who will abandon the wonderful ambrosial nectar and prosperity given by Lakshmi that cannot be easily renounced? There is no hell more aggravating in the three worlds than this existence in the world. The Munis, afraid of these, perform difficult asceticisms in this wondrous world. Wise, intelligent persons renounce their kingdoms and enjoyments and resort to the forest. Who is there so stupid as to enter willingly in this various wombs? It is far better to live in a prison house fettered by hard iron chains, whereas it is not desirable to live for a moment in this world. It is very hard and painful to be in the womb for 10 months. To come out is also hard and extremely troublesome. Jivas get troubled in their childhood. They cannot speak and they do not know what to say. When they are hungry or thirsty, they depend entirely on others and they are grieved. When the child becomes hungry and cries, the mother becomes anxious. When the child is afflicted with disease and cries, the mother then knows and administers medicines. Thus many troubles arise in childhood. Sages do not therefore find any happiness and do not desire of their own accord to come here to earth. O King of Kings, all the Devas, Brahma, and others have to enjoy full the effects of their karmas done, whether they are pleasant or painful. O best of kings, the fruits of karmas must have to be experienced, whether auspicious or inauspicious, be a deva, a human being, or an animal. Anyone who has embodied himself in fine and gross bodies. Human beings, by dint of their practice of penance, religious austerities, almsgiving, and sacrifices, raised to Indrahood. Indra, in his own turn, when the effects of his good actions cease, comes down to inferior births. There is no doubt in this. In the Rama incarnation, the Devas had to incarnate themselves as monkeys. And in the Krishna incarnation, the Devas had to incarnate themselves as human beings, cow herders, gopas, and Yadavas. Thus, being urged on by Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, Bhagavan incarnates himself many times, yuga after yuga, to preserve the religion. O King of mortals, thus like a cartwheel, Bhagavan Vishnu incarnated himself in various wombs successfully in a wonderful manner. The destruction of the demons was done by Vishnu in his many secondary incarnations. Now I will narrate to you the auspicious facts of the birth of Lord Krishna, who incarnated himself in the family of Yadu. O King, the illustrious Vasudeva, born of the parts of Muni Kassapa, had to take his birth again as a human being due to his previous curse and had to maintain his livelihood by tending cows. O best of kings, and the two wives of Kassapa, Aditi and Surasa, had to take their birth as the two sisters Devaki and Rohini on account of the curse cast on them. O descendant of Bharata, we have thus heard that they were greatly cursed at one time by Varuna, the water deity, who got very much angry, the king said. What fault was committed by Kassapa that he had to take his birth along with his wife as cowherds, and why was it that the everlasting, uninterrupted Atman, Vishnu, Narayana, had to take birth in Gokula, he whose abode is Vaikuntha? Who is the Lord of Rama? Who is this Bhagavan and the Supreme amongst the gods? Who is the upholder of the universe and the yugas? Under whose order can such a being abandon his abode and take his birth in the world like an ordinary mortal? There is this great doubt, then, of mine on this point. Obtaining this depraved human coil, one is always perplexed with various thoughts, sometimes with lust, anger, jealousy, sorrow, enmity, sometimes with pleasurable feelings, happiness, fear, sufferings, sometimes with straightforwardness. Good or bad deeds, faithfulness, treachery, unsteadiness, supporting others, sometimes with remorse, hesitation, bragging, greed, delusion, or hypocrisy, and sometimes with remorse. These difficult feelings exist in men. How then can Vishnu, Bhagavan, abandon his eternal pleasures and have recourse to this human birth full of many perplexing thoughts? O best of Munis, what peculiar happiness is there in the pleasure of human birth that Sri Bhagavan, Vishnu, has to undertake the burden of dwelling thus in the human wombs? O Munindra, the sufferings that are experienced while in the womb, the pain during the time of delivery, the misfortunes in the early childhood, the trouble of passionate lust in youth, the greater sorrows and difficulties in the householder's life, all these are existent there. How then Bhagavan Vishnu incarnated himself often in these various human births? What an amount of enormous difficulties had Brahma borne Vishnu to undertake in his Rama incarnation. That high-souled one had to suffer for his exile in the forest, for the stealing away of his wife Sita, for the frequent wars, for the final separation from his wife Sita. Likewise, in the Krishna avatar, the birth in a prison, the departure to Gokul, tending cows, the killing of Kamsa, departure to Dwarka, with great difficulties and all sorts of household difficulties were there. Why had he had to suffer all these? Who amongst the wise and emancipated of his own accord condescends to take on his shoulders so many hard sufferings? This is the great doubt in my mind. Be graciously pleased to remove my grave doubts and make my mind tranquil. Here ends the second chapter in the fourth book of Srimad Devi Bhagavatam, of the Mahapurana of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Veda Vyasa. Jai Maha Maya ki jai, Bole Baba ki jai, Hari Akandeshvari Mata ki jai.